Well, it's Monday, and I'm not your normal host. I'm Jason Ashcraft. It's been a minute since I've been with you all here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk, but I got two great co hosts with me, two normal men, two innocent men, to talk about our a draw that kind of feels a little bit like a loss. Points left on the table, supporter shield possibly slipping away. It is your Monday edition of Cincinnati Soccer Talk, episode 439, and I am joined by our good friend Jose. How are you doing tonight, Jose?
I'm doing well. I was a little bit under the weather most of the day, so I did not rewatch the game because I did not want to go through that torture and feel even worse. But we're here. Glad to be here.
Exactly. That is not a disappointing sporting event. Is not something you typically want to watch when you are
Correct.
nursing a cold or something.
Yeah.
We did have Justin Blair for just a moment, and then I guess he got sick of us already and dipped out. We'll wait for Justin to come back on. Hold on. Let's bring him back. Justin.
Sorry about that, guys. I saw Pesh's comment in the section that we are not live on Facebook. I will try to fix that as the show goes on. But yeah, it's great to be back. It sucks that I'm coming back on a loss. I was like looking forward to. I was like, oh, we got this. We're finally gonna slay the dragon that is Oscar Pereira. But no, Oscar gets us again, and unfortunately, looks like our supporter shield hopes might be down the tubes.
Possibly, but as we were saying in the pre-show, there's itty bitty chance, but it's going to take some help. But before we dive into that and so much more, we want to thank our sponsor, Apollo Home. Apollo Home wants to remind you that during this weird in between season of it's not summer, but it kind of feels like it. But we know winter's right around the corner. It's the perfect time to get your HVAC system checked out before the cold weather sets in. And they're bringing back their $29 coupon for CST listeners for your preseason furnace tune-up. And as always, keep them in mind for any electrical, plumbing needs. Give them a call or send them a text or schedule online at apollohome.com. Thank you very much again to Apollo Home for being a longtime sponsor of CST. So, again, FC Cincinnati draws 1-1 with Orlando City in the dying minutes of the match. We'll get into our best and worst. We'll start off with you, Justin. What's your best and worst?
Yeah, my best is going to go with Evan Leroux. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't watched a ton of Evan Leroux with a fine tooth comb over the last few years, but I was wildly surprised on his reaction, his timing, his ability to come out when there was those clear dangerous moments where we were completely beat defensively. He definitely plays very different than Roman Celentano. He's very decisive. He likes to send those long balls forward, but I was really surprised. I think he really kind of kept us in the game in some of those moments, right? At least creating enough of a confusion and apprehension with the Orlando's front line. My worst is going to be coached or not coached. Watching our midfielders, just like those like those invisible leashes that they have. Or those electric fences. It's like watching our midfield just refuse to go in our 18 the entire match. I don't know if that's something that Pat Noonan's coaching. Kubo, I know Brian Onunga was also doing the same. But you could definitely tell in the minutes that in the final minutes that Orlando City was throwing basically everything they could into the box. And for whatever reason, we were settling with 3 defenders in the box. So that was terrible, not worse. It was god awful. So
yeah, the Evan Leroux we'll get into a little bit, but I know I had a physical on Friday. My blood pressure is great, but when Evan Leroux came out for some of those saves, I know that my blood pressure spiked because it made me nervous. There were a few times I thought this guy's going to get chipped and we're going to be down, but whatever. Jose, your best and worst.
Well, my best is Echenique created a lot of chances up front. And I think he's getting better within the system. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I have to mention Powell, too, as an honorable mention because the minutes he was in, he played well. And he created chances up there as well. My worst is Pat Noonan subs. We'll get into that. Sometimes I just scratch my head when, okay, what's going on here? And honorable mention to Brenner. I mean, he's been great, but he just did not have a good name in the game, and that opportunity that could have been a second goal. I'd have to watch it again, but at first glance, like, well, how did you miss that? So, but that's not the only reason I'm mentioning as one of the worst. By the way, he just didn't have a good game.
Yeah, there were a couple of flubs there by Brenner on the night. Jeff Tebbett's jersey swap host says his best and worst. Best was Andrew Wiebe. His best and worst. Andrew Wiebe and Roman taking the Sky Rosa challenge. That is a challenge you will never see me take. I don't have the stomach I used to have when I was a 20-year-old. And Rupesh.
Tums.
Exactly. I mean, at my age, Tums are like my favorite candy. So Rupert Sharma, best was Miles Robinson. The worst that he had to make so many recovery runs. Let us know in the chat if you have any more best and worst or your comments on the match. I'll get into my best. I hadn't been to a match in a little while, and I got to see a few CSTers, which was kind of cool. I got to meet Rupesh's lovely fiance. Congratulations to he and her on their pending nuptials. And I got to see Coach, and I bumped into Boston on the way out and his lovely wife. So that was kind of cool. Got to see some people I haven't seen in a while. My worst is yet another game at home where we leave points on the table. And TQL Stadium should be a fortress. This season, it is not. Teams are clearly not afraid to come into our house and play FC Cincinnati. So, that's how that went. Let's get into the match. FC Cincinnati draws 1-1. Your lineup for the orange and blue: in goal, the aforementioned Evan Loreau. You had a back line of Luca Orishano, Lucas Engel, Nick Haglund, Miles Robinson, and Ender Echenique. Your midfielders in the kind of the defensive midfield, you had Gidi, I keep wanting to pronounce it the wrong way, and Pavel Buka. Midfielder number 10, Evander, and then your two forwards were Kevin Denkey and Brenner. Fellas, when you saw this lineup come up, what did you all think?
Well, I like the lineup, and it was the same lineup, as somebody actually noted, as the last game, including the subs. So I felt, okay, this, given the injuries and other issues with the team, okay, this is the best lineup, but it was a strong lineup. A little nervous still seeing Matt Hags in the middle, but okay. He did get eaten up a couple times, but managed to recover, or he had Laura to save the day. But in general, it showed that this team does have depth. I mean, this roster has, I think, more depth than maybe the last couple of years, which, we'll talk more about it, because that's what makes it frustrating of leaving so many points when you play at home.
Exactly.
I was excited about this lineup because, I mean, we saw from like the opening whistle, like, they change shapes. That's what Orlando does. But from the opening whistle, you had all 10 field players playing back in our attacking third, right? Like we were trying to break their defenses. So having those wing backs were like Echenique, and then also having Orishano play on the other side, I was really hopeful that we could create enough width, get them kind of to chase out of the box a little bit, and really kind of like find a way to get Evander or Denkey or Brenner some opportunities to have a little bit of space in the box. But I just keep, like, anytime Matt's not on the field, I don't know, like, if it's like just I'm beating myself up about this or what, but I just literally, every time Matt's not on the field, I feel less and less confident about our chances. Yeah. Matt's just an unsung hero, does way more than what his tired legs can do at his age, but he's everything for this team as far as defending. So it puts FC Cincinnati in such a better position whenever they have players that can play in the positions that they feel more comfortable with than, like you said, with Nick Hagelin playing in the central area.
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt is definitely the general back there. Now, you've heard me say this, and I'll still stick to this. I think he's lost maybe half a step, but he's still a commanding presence back there, not just in commanding the troops, but, also being a little intimidating with the opposition, and we need that.
Exactly. I think that's one thing that we are missing is somebody to be that leader on the back line. And as much as you kind of would expect Miles Robinson to take on that mantle, he is now a designated player or is going to be a designated player. You would expect him. He was the captain, and maybe that is a role for him in the future. But I'm with you guys. Ever since whenever Miazga's out, it does seem like there is something missing, an intangible piece missing from that back line.
Yep.
FC Cincinnati comes out pretty strong in the first 10 minutes, and I would say throughout the first half. There was a lot more pressing. Sean Pace mentioned earlier, progressive play. I thought Guidi played very well passing the ball forward. But there were several chances in the early going. What did you all think of the first 10 minutes?
I thought we were going to kill him, to be honest. The first 10 minutes. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it with Pat Noonan's squad, right? We usually get that burn, right? It depends on where we are. If we're on the road, it's usually a 15-minute that we kind of ease into the match, right? But at home, we've always been the team that comes out and does 15 minutes of chaos and then kind of relax, and you start seeing the momentum shift where we're now defending quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I just felt like the way we were able to quickly progress the ball, kind of get them a little bit off balance and stuff like that. I honestly thought we were just going to smoke Orlando. But kudos to them and Pedro Galese for not allowing that to happen on the night.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Orlando that adjusted or we just ran out of gas. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. But as you said, Justin, we always come out firing on all cylinders at home, and then we, kind of, I don't know if it's relaxed or the other team adjusts and we don't counter adjust. But there were a lot of opportunities throughout the first half. But Orlando gave us a couple of wake-up calls when Leroux had to come out, and they just, at some point in that first half, they seemed to be slicing through that midfield and back line. And I started to get nervous. That's when the opportunity started to come for Orlando, and we got lucky. They missed so many chances, but again, something happened in the midfield. Not sure what, that those gaps weren't closed. And let's face it, Hags is slow. So combination of that started creating all those opportunities.
Rupesh points out that Noonan made it sound like Guidi got caught up field a little bit, and I would agree with that. I think as good as some of his passing was, it did seem like he wanted to play a little bit higher up the pitch than, say, an Obi or a Brian Anunga would have. And maybe that's just him being new to the squad and not really understanding his role yet. But I agree. It seemed like if Orlando got the ball around the center circle, they were gone. And there were a lot of good situations for them that, as we mentioned, required Evan Loro to decide, hey, I'm going to come up 45 yards out of his box, which in MLS, man, that you never know how that's going to go. Let's talk a little bit about some of the chances FC Cincinnati had in the first half. There were a couple really good chances. I'm thinking offhand, Kevin Denkey had a really good header, I want to say about 20 minutes in, that went straight to the Orlando keeper. I think he had two headers that were like that. Brenner, another good chance.
He had one where he forced Pedro Galese to drag a foot.
Yeah.
And that was how he was able to get there.
Save.
Yeah, it was a good save. But the other one was pretty standard.
Yeah, but one of the things that I saw, it looked like the crosses were actually working this time. We talked a lot this season that we just go down the corner and chuck a cross in and it goes nowhere. We are getting some crosses in there this time around. Offensively, what did you guys see between like Brenner, Evander, and Denkey? Do you think that this might have been the first game where it really clicked for them?
Yeah, I thought I saw much more interplay between them, much more communication. They seem to be finally getting on the same page. There's still a few glitches, but that's to be expected. So I was very encouraged and excited with all the opportunities that we're creating. Plus, again, you had a Echenique crossing the ball, Orellano as well. So at some point, I thought, man, we could really run away with this game until we didn't. So I liked what I saw. And if they continue doing that, and we'll talk more about this later, we could be a force in the playoffs, but that's a big if still.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, I think you have three of the best attacking options that, at least in the Eastern Conference, I can think of off the top of my head, right? The pairing. They just don't necessarily have that ball time with each other right now. And we didn't really see, I don't think there was really that moment this year. Yeah, the numbers, the stats kind of show it, but there wasn't those moments where you were like, man, Denkey and Evander are just in lockstep with each other, right? I know Denkey missed some minutes with the injury against Columbus, but it just never seemed like they kind of really were on the same page on how each other wanted to do. But with Brenner coming in, I think it definitely has helped. With easing up a little bit. I think Evander even said himself that having Denkey with him allows him to be a little bit more relaxed and knowing that he has somebody up top that can create kind of on the dribble is able to make chances happen rather than it all being on him, and that's a big part. And I noticed in our notes we were getting ready to talk about Denkey's lack of scoring. I don't know if that is coming off of Brenner's addition. I know Brenner's been able to score goals, and yeah, there's some footwork, but I think Brenner plays a little bit back more than most nines would, right?
Yeah.
Most wingers would. I think he kind of settles back a little bit. I think it's just the timing is a problem for Denkey. I don't know if he's unsure of himself when he needs to step, when he needs to go, because those extra dribbles, and we all know Brazilians love their dribbles. I think those extra dribbles kind of get him off on the wrong foot when he's making a run, and then the timing's completely off. So it looks like he's just standing there watching the play, but really he's just like, okay, now like I've started my run. I can't get off sides. I have to go. Okay, now do I go? Like it's just getting that familiarity with each other. They just haven't had the time.
Well, yeah. And the other thing, again, we had to people say, well, Kevin Denkey's not scoring. I mean, during the game, I always saw 2 or 3 guys on top of him the moment he received the ball. Now, that doesn't mean that's an excuse for him not scoring more. But where I'm going with this is, okay, if that's happening, then what are the players on the pitch then doing? So, okay, he's going to have 2, 3 guys. What can we do then to open up a space? Because now he's got 2, 3 guys next to him. That means there's space somewhere else. So what can we do to help him either get the ball to them or move in a way that attracts other players? And I don't know if that's a coaching issue or is that, a leadership on the pitch. But we can't expect the guy to do much if immediately you had 2 or 3 guys converging on him. That's kind of tough. Even Acosta, sometimes struggle with 2 or 3 guys on top of him.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, and I like that you made that point. I think there's the what do they call it on back on Extra Time? The David Goss theorem, that sometimes it takes a big name foreign player a year to get used to playing in MLS. And Denkey got here at the beginning of the season, but he's got 14 goals.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. He's second on the team in scoring. I kind of I pinned him for 20 on the year, but I didn't expect Evander to score as many as he did. I think And for a good chunk of the summer, Denkey was hurt. We didn't see
Yes.
him at full
Yep.
strength.
Correct.
So
Yes.
this move by Chris Albright to bring in Brenner, a guy with a very similar build, but like a very different skill set, someone who's very much, I think, better on their feet. This might, fingers crossed, this could turn out to be like the best, most genius move in MLS in the offseason outside of bringing in Hyunmin Son. And to me, like that's one of the things I noticed in this match. Brenner was getting back further. He was getting more involved in the midfield, more involved in the defense at some points.
Mm-hmm.
And that allowed Denkey to kind of hang out there at that back line. And if we get to the 75th minute, when we finally get our goal, the 74th minute, it was a situation where Brenner was distracting some of the defenders.
Mm-hmm.
Evander threaded a nice, beautiful pass. All Denkey had to do was boop, bop it in there. And to me, that's what you want to see. That's the Cincinnati play. That reminded me of 2023.
Yes.
And, it was great to finally see one go in at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's huge. It's huge for the confidence. I mean, there's a reason why he ripped his shirt off and went to the post, right? You could tell that Denkey has been a little bit frustrated recently with his production. Everything was going so great, and then the injury happened, and it's just really not picked up since then. But for me, if I can kind of segue to a different pairing up top that I really want to see, I know we've kind of had, what can we do to bring that extra oomph into the attack? I'd like to see in some way us getting Orishano playing those overlapping runs with Brenner the way he plays, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think that kind of chaos, when you bring in Orishano in, that can really help Denkey out on that side, on the other side, the adjacent side to it. Because you're having now Brenner run to the byline, and then you have Orishano cutting into the middle. That creates a slip for Denkey to slip underneath and drag. And then that, with Evander standing behind him, creates a situation where it's just a nightmare. So I think if you can get Orishano into the attack as well, and somehow this whole thing can marinate very well, I think Denkey is going to be a goal-scoring machine when it comes to the playoffs. But it's just, you got to get the minutes in, and hopefully that's what they're doing over there at that gorgeous training facility.
Well, to your point, Justin, I think we saw them try that a few times. At least in the first half, I saw some times when it looked like Brenner was coming out wide and Luka was moving a little bit more centrally, and it looked like they were thinking about that at some point. And I'm with you there. It's
a hard. Let me go back. It's a hard matchup against Orlando to try to do that. There's a reason why they're so good on the road themselves.
They're the best defense in the league, aren't they? If I remember.
Yeah. And they've been for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like they're what Oscar Perea and staff have been able to do. And that's just like FC Cincinnati, a revolving door of players. Mm-hmm. I mean, like a few years ago, we had, what was it? Nani playing over there. I mean, they've just been a revolving door of talent, and they just keep coming up with answers, just like Pat Noonan and co.
Yeah.
So FC Bettlinger asks, and I only bring this up because I want to bring up my conspiracy theory. I'm going to derail the podcast. He asks, will we be able to keep Brenner next season with our DP slots taken? So here's what I think is going to happen. Rupesh is right. As long as there's no rule changes, we're going to have to either figure out a way to get him on as a TAM player or something, because either Kevin or Evander will need to be moved out of those DP slots. However, here's my conspiracy theory. We have a World Cup coming up here in the U.S., in Mexico and Canada, but mostly in the U.S. The Major League Soccer wants to capitalize on their marketing for that. And they're going to want to bring some of the big name U.S. men's national team players home. I think what we're going to see in the offseason, I'd be willing to put a crispy $1 bill on this, is MLS
Gambler.
they're going to announce a fourth DP that is only used for Americans. And
It's
that
actually a
is
good idea.
why we see Miles Robinson as a DP. And you're going to see, and it's going to make all the right people incredibly angry on Twitter, but you're going to see Weston McKennie and Josh Sargent and some of these guys move in the summer window next year on this fourth DP. $1. So that's what I think is going to happen. So there's my conspiracy theory. Well, now that I've derailed this for a while, Kevin Denkey gets FC Cincinnati up in the 74th minute, and then it is a whole lot of FC Cincinnati kicking it right to the goalkeeper, and Orlando City not able to hit the broadside of a barn until stoppage time, sixth minute of stoppage time. Alex Freeman ties it up on a I didn't even see it. I was kind of walking to the bathroom at that point. Guys, points dropped at home. Why did we collapse like that?
Well, first of all, I mean, I want to start by saying the collapse was not inevitable, but there were signs during the entire game. We've already talked about it. We gave Orlando a ton of opportunities, which they missed. So it easily could have been 3-0 against us.
Right.
So the fact that Orlando missed so many chances got us thinking, well, maybe we can get away with this until that goal. And I do call it a collapse, by the way, because I saw the replay of that goal a few times, and it's like a comedy of errors again. But I think and we can talk more into this, talk more about it. I think in a nutshell, it's the subs, the substitution patterns were kind of strange. Now, he did say that Buka was having cramps. Okay, I get that. But it just seemed that the chemistry changed very quickly once he put on all those subs. And I got to tell you, at least around us there in the stands, we all started to get nervous with all those changes he was making. It's like, okay, what are you trying to do? You're saying, I'm going to park the bus and defend this lead. And while that might have worked during the entire season, by the way, because we have, and you guys have heard me complain about 1-goal wins, we had a patched up back line this time. And again, even more patched up when we started switching around the players. So I don't know if there was one cause. I think there was just a number of things that maybe the team became complacent because Orlando was missing so many opportunities. Maybe we thought, okay, we've been able to eke out 1-goal wins. This is no different. We should be able to do this. We're at home. And then you put in new players in there. Maybe Buka was the right one because he had cramps. So I think it was just a lot of that. But I go back to one thing that you guys I know are tired of hearing of me. There isn't a killer instinct in this team.
Right.
I have not seen it. And last night in particularly, we saw that on the pitch. And I think it also reflected on Pat. I mean, you got to go for the jugular when you're in these conditions, especially down the stretch. So a lot of words from me to say, I think there were a number of things. I don't think the collapse was inevitable, but there were signs during the entire game.
I agree. Rupesh says the D was bad all night. It wasn't the sub's fault. I agree to a certain extent. And I think, the XG for the match, Cincinnati 1.54 to Orlando City's 3.41, which has been the story of the season, is lack of offensive prowess. I will say this. I'm not all that upset with Buka going out. He was cramping, and I think we have depth in the midfield to cover that. My question is this. We have a $1 million center back, Teenage Adibi, sitting on the bench. Can't see the pitch. We have a U22 center back, Gilberto Flores, sitting on the bench, who I thought played pretty well at times this season. We have, I know Justin is smoking something when he says this, but the best USL player in history in Dado Valenzuela.
Yes.
Who is our third leading scorer, by the way, sitting on the bench.
Hey, give him time.
Draw fouls. A lot of these people, I question, and this is a problem I've had with Pat Noonan ever since he came here, but we have the deepest bench that FC Cincinnati's had in the Pat Noonan era, in my opinion. Yet he
Mhm.
insists on playing players out of position. Look at Lucas Engel. Or subbing in guys out of position. Look at Alvis Powell.
Doubles Powell.
Bringing in like some head scratching subs. Like, why did Dotto not come in for Buka?
Correct.
Why did Kubo come in?
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I like Kubo. I'm probably in the minority, but we saw the good and the bad Kubo in multiple plays. He do a great plays. Oh, great. And then bad Kubo.
Yeah.
What was striking for me? I'm sorry,
go ahead. No, that was kind of the end of my point.
But what was striking to me was Jabari and Kubo, like, I guess, didn't get the message that we were like hanging back. So like it was really hilarious to watch. I think there was a moment where somebody just bombed the ball forward to no one. And Vander's reaction to it was just priceless. It's like, well, what are we doing? Like,
yeah.
Are we attacking? Because like when they first came on, like Jabari was pushing the ball high. Yeah. And if you remember, Alvis Powell like went in probably like one of the best shots I've ever seen Alvis Powell kick. He blasted that ball at Calese. But it just seemed like everyone was just kind of on a different page. And I don't know, like, is that lack of communication like coming on, or maybe just like the game was like the dynamics were changing a little bit. Maybe a sub or two here changed the complexity and it just didn't get communicated. But it just felt like everyone was completely on their own play during that match. Yeah. And it was bizarre. It was like we still had a center back of Powell pressing high, going way up the pitch. And then we had Kubo and Anunga like completely retreating back to the midfield instead of defending. And then you had Jabari just going wild. And I think there was one time, like, I didn't know if we were, like, because that's been the thing for FC Cincinnati, right? I mean, they, like, hammered it home on the broadcast if anybody got a chance to watch that. But, like, the one goal wins and all that stuff, it becomes a narrative, right? So it's like I almost kind of got the sense that we were trying to really, like push ourselves to the limit to score that second goal.
See,
but everyone was on a different page.
I got the exact opposite impression.
Yeah,
personally.
You did.
I did. Yeah, I thought Pat was like, "Well, we've got a 1-goal lead, we're good." But and then my question is, because that's kind of, and again, I'm not the OptiStats guy, but I always feel like Pat will settle for defense, but if you are going to have defensive subs, and Alvis played great last night, I'll give him that. Yeah. Why was he playing center back? Why not put him out on wing back and move? Here's a thought: move Luka up forward a little bit. Like, you've got options. We actually have options this year, and we don't play guys in positions and that they are supposed to be playing. And I hate to use this comparison, but I'm a big pro wrestling fan. It reminds me of like certain wrestlers who you knew were good would go to WWE, and Vince McMahon would see him have one match and go, "Yeah, you don't have it, pal." And then they'd be off TV for like 6 months and you never see him again.
Live shows.
Yeah. And then they'd show up in like, I don't know, TNA or AEW and kill it. But like, did like Dotto ask out Pat Noonan's niece in front of him or something and he just didn't like that? Did Gilberto like back into his car? Like, what is going on with some of these players that just can't seem to find the pitch?
There's nothing in general. I like the philosophy of being able to have players that can play multiple positions, but in this team, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't, because of the system that's in place, because of the skill set of the players. I mean, if you were I'm just a tiki-taka Spain where everybody played everything, okay, but we're not. So I am constantly perplexed as what is the purpose of this change? I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to do here. And I agree completely with what you guys have said. I mean, Flores, Hadebi, Valenzuela. I mean, okay, maybe they've done something that Pat doesn't like, but man, supporter shield is on the line here. And you gotta roll the dice. You gotta roll this. Okay, we gotta take some risks here, and I'm gonna put these guys in who are probably very eager to prove their worth.
Well,
yeah, I think
go ahead.
If I can put a cherry on it, I think that Pat is kind of in a weird space right now. You bring in so many pieces during the summer window, Jabari, Gady. I'm gonna kill his name because I haven't actually been on the microphone telling. But Mark Suk. Yeah. So you bring all these guys on, right? And it's kind of like, how do you balance that out, right? Because you got guys who've run the minutes, right? Gone the gauntlet, played the Leagues Cup matches, have gone through XYZ matches. But like, how do you incorporate players and get them time while keeping your, guys that kind of for 3/4 of the season have kind of got you there, right? Yeah. So like Dado Valenzuela is definitely one. Teenage Shidebe is another one, right?
Yeah.
Ever since we played Inter Miami, I really can't even think of a match where Teenage Shidebe saw the pitch. I mean, there might be an obvious one I'm missing, but it's kind of a trick, right? We're almost too stacked, too loaded at this point, where we have too many options. I just missed the simple times when we knew that Sergio Santos was coming off the bench.
I mean, we could be like Columbus. Yeah. We could be like Columbus and have a very shallow bench and completely collapse. This is where not having the Open Cup kind of comes back to hurt you, because you don't have those, I hate to say it, but those throwaway matches against the USL squads where you can run some people out.
Yeah, that's why you loan them out to USL. See? Bada bing, bada boom.
Well, that just about does it. We'll put a bow on this match. 1-1 draw that kind of feels like a loss. Very disappointing. But before let me get this up. Before we move on to our next segment, we want to give a big shout out, a big thank you to Beyond Exercise. They are a local physical therapy and fitness business that helps people stay active and injury-free. In fact, they've helped some of our local MLS Next Pro, and FCC Academy players with their health and performance needs. Check out their suite of services at gobeyondexercise.com. Here's a segment we haven't done in a while, but it's a segment that I thoroughly enjoy because I just love talking about soccer. Soccer in our area. This is Justin's baby. So Justin,
this is my baby. I'm sorry to anybody that's been looking for the publications on the website. I am currently working on a novel right now. And so I just haven't had the headspace to write very many of those. It's a lot of time. There's a lot.
What genre? I got to stop you right there. What genre?
It is fiction, and it is to do with a fictitious war. So if you like Tom Clancy type novels, then you'll like it. I'm a big history and geography nerd, so this gives me all the opportunities.
You gotta talk, man. I love that stuff.
I know the other podcast has the book club. Soccer Blog Book Club.
Nice.
But we'll do. Let us know when you are ready to share it with the world.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to publish it, but I will definitely get done writing it.
Justin, I thought you were going to say I'm writing a novel where I become an MLS coach and I take him to the championship in my first year.
You could do the new DC United GM and write thrillers, which are about Did you hear this?
Yes.
No.
Oh, Jose, you're missing out. The new general manager for DC United. Yeah. So he headed up a consulting group to try to find a new GM. And then lo and behold, he's their best guy, right? He used to be an agent for Mesut Özil and some really high profile players. He's also an author, and he's written several novels, one of which is a thriller called Deadline. That is it deals with Deadline Day, but then there's a murder mystery, or his daughter gets kidnapped, but he's also a secret agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to look that up.
Yeah. That's a niche market right there.
Yeah.
You're trying to hit all those pegs. I love it.
Yeah.
But
soccer in our area.
Our love for geography, we'll go a little bit more local here with soccer in our area. We got USL Championship squads. Lou City, I know, boo, everybody, boo. They're currently first in the Eastern Conference of the USL Championship, and Lexington SC, who has been the perennial punching bag, usually, and I think that this is their first or second year in the this is their first year in the championship. They were like dead last in League One for their first years of existence, and now they go up to the championship, and they're fifth in the West right now. So they're on the above the playoff line. Indy 11 is also above the playoff line. These are all teams that are within an hour and a half drive of Cincinnati. So if you get a chance and you're wanting to go out and see more soccer out there, definitely go check out those teams. There'll be playoff matches in your area. Another one that I wanted to highlight was NWSL squad Racing Louisville remains 1 point ahead of the playoff line with 4 matches left. Their match against North Carolina Courage will be kind of like that make or break match. They are playing, I believe it's this Saturday, and the match is, I think they're only 1 point ahead of North Carolina Courage, so that's a huge swing. That's potentially a 6-point swing for either team. So definitely, if you get a chance, that Louisville, I know we don't like the old USL days and stuff like that, but Lynn Family Stadium is a great place to watch a match.
Yeah,
and NWSL is a fantastic league. I know they make some questionable decisions about expansion sites, but we won't go into that tonight. Yeah, go down there and check it out. Lou City or Racing Louisville, they do a fantastic job. And then 5 matches into the USL Super League, which is the USL's equivalent of their championship league, but for women. And Lexington Sporting Club is one of 3 squads left undefeated out of the first 5 matches, and they absolutely destroyed this Friday Dallas. I didn't know Dallas Trinity was playing a man down, but they were doing wonders out there. And that's what I got for soccer in our area. I know there's a lot more collegiate coverage to get to.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I have missed like the last 2-3 weeks. I didn't get a chance to shout out Xavier for winning the crosstown shootout. Good job for them. I know
yes,
NKU is on a bit of a winning streak. Miami, Ohio, they got a big win this weekend. So yeah, if you get a chance, there's plenty of soccer matches out there, and it feels different when you got that that collegiate logo, right? So it makes a lot of fun. It's a good environment. There's usually 1,000 or so fans that are in the stands. It's a good environment.
Yeah, if you've ever had, I used to work at Xavier and did sports there. But if you ever get a chance to see a Xavier, especially men's soccer match, it's usually a beer garden.
Yeah,
it's usually a good time and gets pretty rowdy. Louisville City, the big news came out, guys. We were talking about this before we started the stream. They're one of the first, they might be the actual first of the USL championship clubs to apply for this new D1, let's just call it USL Premier League, that is supposed to launch in 2028, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And MLS is just going to give them the summer because we are moving to a winter schedule. If just real quick, offhand, if you were to pick 3 USL teams to promote to MLS, let's do 3. Ooh. Which 3 would it be?
I would give Sacramento 1. We completely screwed them on that. So
yeah,
at least
I would agree. I would agree.
If people don't understand that, look it up. I think it was to do with COVID, wasn't it? COVID.
It was that, and their owner decided to buy Michael Jackson's old Neverland Ranch.
Great. So, good investment there. No, I think for me, if I can jump in, Jose, I think for me, it's hard because you have only so few in the USL Championship that really, really, really pump it in. There's plenty of money in USL Championship, but the support isn't quite there. I think if I was like governor and I could just literally just make teams get promoted, I would definitely do Detroit City. I think that would be worth its weight in gold to bring them up to the MLS.
It would make all the right people mad.
Their fans just absolutely melt down. But no, I'm going to go with Sacramento, Louisville because of the location. And then I would go with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has done a great job.
Yeah, Pittsburgh
investing in it. I think there are some really good teams that are making their way up the USL that I would definitely circle. You know, I really like what Rhode Island's been able to do, but they're still young. And we'll see.
What about you?
I've kind of lost touch with USL. I keep watching it, but yeah, I mean, I think those teams make a lot of sense. It's not just the cities themselves, but the support of the fans there, their installations, and that would be great. I mean, from a market perspective, it just makes sense too. Now, as you said, Pittsburgh, I thought, okay, so that'd be good. I mean, maybe one day we have an MLS and we can beat up on them as opposed to, the Steelers beating up on the Bengals. And by the way, I'm not even a Bengals fan, but I hate when the Steelers beat up the Bengals. So yeah, I think those cities make a lot of sense. Yeah, something that maybe one day we should talk about, guys, and I mean, obviously not this program, is okay, at what point does MLS get too big? And what happens then? Just, something to think about later.
I can come up with a 48 team. I can come up with a 48 team league right now.
I think we could end the show talking about this, but nah, we'll
do that with some other thing. Yeah,
that's a good off season. Hush, Rupesh already there. It's friggin' soccer purist. I would use Rupesh's pick. Sacramento, they deserve it. Phoenix, because they're probably going to be the next MLS expansion, and Detroit City, only because it would make the right people angry, and I'm a snotty person. All right, guys.
Is there a way for us to kick Nashville back across the conferences a couple more times before we all settle down? Like, that would be funny. Just put them back out west for a few years.
I want a Central Conference so bad. As a Cincinnatian, it bothers me that we're not in the same conference as St. Louis.
Yeah.
And that's just a natural.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. We should be in the same conference with Chicago and St. Louis, and I guess Minnesota would make sense. There's no teams in Wisconsin.
Be sure to stay tuned for hour number 2 of Cincinnati Soccer Talk.
Hey,
these are all increase the league to 40 teams. Why not? We'll have
These are all
more playoff games that we have to pay more money for. Hey.
No, you do 40 teams, 2 leagues of 20, an American League and National League situation. You play single table in each of those leagues. Top teams play each other in MLS Cup.
That I like a lot. Yes.
No Pro Rel, because Pro Rel is dumb. Anyway, guys,
wait a minute.
We've got the playoffs coming up here in just a few weeks. We'll kind of wrap it up with this. If the season were to end today, we would be playing Orlando City, and our rivals up to the north, Columbus Crew, would be in the play-in game against Chicago. Is that which would be hilarious? I think that's great.
Absolutely.
If I'm doing a temp check on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most confident, 1 being the least confident, how confident are you going into the playoffs today, Jose?
I think it's a 3. And again, I go back to what I've been saying about that lack of killer instinct. We still need to see KD get more open, get Giddy to better understand how to not leave gaps in the middle if you're going to play him. And something that's out of our control completely, it's getting the starters healthy again. Matt, Roman, and Obi. Although I'm going to say something here that's probably sacrilegious. I may not start Obi for the rest of the year because he hasn't played that much, but that's just me. So right now I'm more a 3 because the home field advantage just doesn't seem to help us right now. In fact, we seem to stumble a lot. So I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not pessimistic, but I'm not optimistic.
Justin, where are you on the scale of hype?
What was the range again? I'm sorry.
5
0
being the
to-
most excited and confident for the playoffs, 1 being the least.
Oh man, I think 3 is a pretty good number there. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 4 just to be different. I think I'm gonna go with 4 because I think this team, the brighter days are ahead of them. I think they have the most potent attack period in the league. I know maybe our goal differential doesn't necessarily show that. I think we've kind of solved the problems over the last couple of games. We're just getting everyone up to speed. But I would say that, in my opinion, I think FC Cincinnati is a team that's built for this moment, right? I think they've made the right roster moves. They have the right pieces in the right positions. We have depth in midfield. Finally, we have depth in center back if we ever use any of them. We have the pieces there.
So I have a question for you then.
You have that PTSD. I don't know if it's battered fans. I'm gonna steal one from our friends down in Inter Miami, but battered fan syndrome here. But it just feels like we're headed to the same.
So Justin, my question is, and I agree with everything you said, but will Pat be able to take advantage of that roster?
I'm just not. I mean, I'm not on the Pat is the issue guy. I'm just not. I don't. I think that it is incredibly hard for teams, and I know this is excuse for every team, right, in MLS, but it's just incredibly hard to check every box, right? Like you just, I mean, we have probably one of the deepest rosters in the MLS, but you have so much movement through the season based on when the windows are, and the viability of some transfers, getting people up to speed late in the season, especially when you have the pause for Leagues Cup, right? You kind of front load the schedule. So I don't think I'm not gonna blame Pat if it doesn't work out, right? If there are some egregious decision making, right? If we're battling on whether or not to leave starters in for 120, or we're pulling our starters out in the 60th minute in a match and lose, then I might start asking those questions again from 2023. But I would say at this point, I feel like Pat's got us in the right shape. I just think that it's complex, and I'm giving him a little bit more rope than I think most people are right now.
So stay tuned for the last show of CST when we see what actually happened.
Yeah, I am at a 2.5 right now. And it really depends on the day. Let's look at the home field advantage thing. So FC Cincinnati is slightly worse at home than they are away this year. Home, 8 wins, 3 draws, 5 losses. Away, 10 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses. And so if conceivably we go in as a 2 seed, slight chance we could go in as a 1 seed, but if we go in as a 2 seed, you get home field advantage up until the point you play the 1 seed. And I don't know if that really helps the team that much. And the whole killer instinct thing we've talked about, I don't know offhand how many times have we scored more than 2 goals this year. 6, 7 times? Not even that many? Like, this is not a team that scores a lot. And if we're paired with a team like Orlando that has a very good defense, I'm going to be biting my nails more than I already do in the first round of playoffs. The thing with me is, this is a team that was supposedly built to win MLS Cup. I'm not going to be upset if we bomb out of the Shield race.
Oh no!
But if we bomb out in the first round of the playoffs, I'm going to be a very, very angry FC Cincinnati. This has got to be an Eastern Conference or bust for me.
I don't know. I don't know about Eastern Conference or bust, but I think a first round pow out, I think, would be egregiously bad for the way things are going in this club, because this was, we talked about it in the off season. We wrote our articles about it. This was the all chips in the center of the table. I mean, they have spent and they have spent and they have spent and they have gone above and beyond in constructing this roster and bringing in immensely talented players. If we lose in the first round, that would really, really, really put a lot of warm chairs, we'll put it, in the clubhouse for sure.
Real quick question from Rupesh. Do we feel like the pressure at home, they feel more pressure at home because how anxious the fans are?
Oh, it's Cincinnati.
I think so. No question.
I think like the most nerve-wracking to fans. Like we have like 50,000 curses, primetime curses, Sunday curses when we play Columbus. Like it's just like I'd be nervous too. I'd be like, Jesus Christ. It's like second, but if you feel it in the stadium. I love going to the Bailey, but the second you go down a goal, it just deflates really quickly. And I think it's because the fans care so damn much, right? It's not just a Mardi Gras scene. You have a really smart fan base, and when they see things kind of go sideways a little bit, it's we kind of feel like we're walking that rope. We have to also remember this is FC Cincinnati. I mean, we've been brutalized as a fan base, so we're just expecting for the bubble to burst at some point.
Sean Pace said that the East is brutal. If you're referring to the east side of the state, we have. I mean, people around me. I mean, every time, whatever, whether it's Kuba losing the ball or Evander trying to, play hero ball. I mean, we're all like, "What are you doing?" I mean, it's like instantaneous.
We are not technically out of the Shield race, but we would need a ton of help. Let's try to wrap this up real quick.
I don't think we need a lot of help. I think we just need Philly to drop 2 of their next 4. No.
Well, Philly only has 2 more?
They're 4
left?
Points ahead of us.
Yeah.
And we're 2
we need
points
Philly to
ahead
drop
of San
points,
Diego.
And we need Miami to not use those games in hand to their advantage.
That's right.
So there could be a swing. We could wind up 4th seed if things go.
Yeah.
We could still win out and be, I think, the 3rd or 4th seed. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, if we drop all games, we could be in the play-in game. So if things go a certain way. So
yeah, the last thing I don't want a hell is real in the playoffs. I want to avoid
what
that.
If that was the play-in game?
No, I don't want that. I think we're a better team than Columbus. I just don't want.
It would be insulting at this
anywhere
point.
Near them in the playoffs. My heart can't take it. That just about wraps it up for this episode. If you'd like to support Cincinnati Soccer Talk and making more content like this, although I don't know why you would, since I'm hosting, but if you'd like to support us, head on over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. There you'll be able to sign up for their Patreon page and make a one-time donation. A paid Patreon subscription enters you into our Growler Cup competition, and you get some other great bonus content from CST as well. Fellas, thank you so much for your time tonight. Let's wrap it up here with some final thoughts. Jose, what do you
got? Everybody that has watched me on the show and even in our chats knows that I'm still, insisting that these 1-goal wins were not sustainable. And what I've maybe failed to qualify is that it's not necessarily that the wins themselves are not sustainable. It's that we keep giving points away more than anything. And again, it's that lack of let's put this away. Whatever it's the extra effort or tactical changes or the right kinds of subs at the right moment that have not allowed us to gather points that we have left on the table. And, we won't go over them. We know what those are. So that needs to change. Pat still has 2 games to change that. And the players as well. It's not just on Pat, the players as well. If Matt Miazga is not on the field, who's going to step up to make that happen? If it doesn't happen, then we could be watching a very short run in the playoffs because these teams are going to come out with an intensity that we have seen before, and we need to have that. So that's kind of my final thought today.
Great. Thanks, Jose. Justin.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Marine de Marais. for your feedback question for us. Hopefully, we answered that in the show. She was asking about the absence of Gilberto Flores and Teenage Hidebe. Yeah, we're just as clueless as you are. It's kind of confusing at this point why we don't have center backs playing center backs. So, but yes, Maureen, thank you so much for always popping in and communicating with us over at Feedback. If you want to do something like that yourself, have questions for us, we usually message people back and let them know, or we address it here on the show. So it's at feedback@CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We had a really good chat tonight.
Yeah, we did.
As far as the podcast goes. So thank you for all y'all in the chat asking great questions. My final thought has nothing to do with FC Cincinnati. I am a huge Cincinnati Reds fan, and I am so stoked that the Reds backed into the playoffs. A big thank you to the New York Mets for completely bombing out of the end of the season. Thank you to the Marlins for sweeping them to get the Reds in the playoffs. The Reds are, if I remember correctly, they were plus 3,500 in the odds to win the World Series this year. So I'm gonna get $5 and put on that because I can make some money.
They could do a Leicester City in the Premier League several years ago. I mean, they were like a 5,000 to 1 shot, and they won.
Well, the Reds are technically the worst team to make the playoffs, and just statistically speaking. But if I remember what I saw today, like the second worst team to ever make the playoffs was the 2006 Cardinals, and I think they won.
I think
the World Series that year.
How were they worse? I mean, they were pretty loaded in 2006.
They were loaded, but I think they just statistically weren't that good
do it
that year.
Yeah.
So
are they sub 500? The Reds?
No, they're slightly above 500.
Okay.
They don't have a single player hitting above 275. They don't have a single pitcher with 15 wins, but that's kind of on the bullpen. They don't have anybody with 25 or more home runs. Like they got in there by the skin of their teeth, and much like Columbus Crew, they lost and still made the playoffs. So
we just need to fill out Great American. I would love to see that. You know, if we get a single match there, a single game,
there will be one game there.
One game. Fill that in.
It's what, 3, I think, in the first round, or best of 3.
Yeah,
and I think the first 2 were in LA. So tomorrow night, we watching me some Reds baseball at like midnight.
Wait, LA Dodgers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Good. It was a fun season, Red.
Hey. New York Giants, when they beat the unbeatable Patriots, they barely made it into the playoffs.
Yeah.
The next playoffs played on the road, they won all of them, and then they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So hey, you never know.
That's why playoffs are great. You never know. You never know. A team could get hot. Kansas City Royals won the World Series a few years ago, and they weren't all that great. All right. Anyway, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for listening. For everybody. Justin and Jose, I'm Jason Ashcraft. We will see you next week on Cincinnati Soccer Talk.